Hello. We are live. Welcome to where are we? Who am I? Who are you nice people? Oh, right. This is session number 2 of Great American Witch, which is an adapted from the Great American Novel actual play on the Happy Jacks RPG network. To catch up on past episodes, visit happyjacks.org, Great American Witch. To find all of the shows on the Happy Jacks network, visit happyjacks.org/shows. I am Christopher Gray, and I will be running our story today, and we have with us some fine people who will also be participating in this story. Introduce yourselves.
I guess I'll go.
Not all at once.
I just know I'm second. I've just memorized that. I'm second. So
I guess I'll go. Hey guys, I'm Mac. I am playing Imelda, who goes by Mel Lake. She is of the craft of Lilith and is not very happy about the way things are right now. So we'll see how that shakes out.
hi, I am Emily. I am playing Abigail. Abigail Hawks. She is of the craft of Hekate, which means that she can see dead people and stuff. Not a lot of that happened last session, so we'll see if some of that does this time.
There was some texting.
There was some text, some mysterious text.
I'm Jim, and I'll be playing Cabe. He is of the craft of Terra and the local attorney and bringer of balance.
Hey y'all, I am Joe, and I will be playing Albert, who goes by Al in the coven. And Albert is also very concerned with a great many things. He also is the craft of the spider grandmother, which means he often reads the future and sometimes levels cities.
Wait, what was that?
Nothing. We're
okay.
fine.
Well, here we are. So last time we had some major concerns come up. First of all, it is going to be the winter solstice in Salem, Indiana, which is always a big deal anyway. But on that day, there's also an eclipse, a full solar eclipse. So that is going to bring all magic to 11. And it's impossible to know how that's going to affect anything or anyone. But it's not going to be a jaunt in the park. Let's just put it that way. Also, the Seven Sisters, who is basically the administrative body of organized witchcraft in America, is coming to Salem, Indiana for the solstice, and bringing with them a bunch of covens who want to celebrate this spectacle that's going to happen. Salem, as we just explored last time, isn't exactly a booming town, kind of broken socially, and is in desperate need of help, economic, social, and any other kind of help you can think of. Our witches are in charge of a halfway house, and that halfway house is under scrutiny by the county. So lots of interesting things happening, and we are going to jump right in. So I think for this one, we're actually going to start. I'm trying to decide how to frame this. Actually, this is what's interesting about this game, is depending on the scene framing will kind of show my hand about what is in store. But I think we're going to start with a momentum chapter. And if you recall, that is a chapter that will have conflicts, but that is probably not going to be major or life-threatening, but it's going to escalate. That's why it's called momentum. And we're going to start there. So let's say this is the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
This is probably only a few days after our last encounter, where you were able to save a teenage girl, Raven Therianthrope, from her, I don't know, maybe abusive parents and family. And they were kind of kicked out of your homestead while you were able to initiate her, because it was uncovered that she actually has witchcraft in her. So that's that is a new member of your society, and she has been there. So this has only been a couple of days. I know that many of you are trying to prepare for the fact that the Seven Sisters are coming. They didn't say when they were coming, so That's tricky of them. They also didn't leave a phone number. I think they said use the veil, so I don't know if they want you contacting them through mundane means. But yeah, so we're gonna start there. But before we go right into the scene, I do need to know what your aspect is, mother, maiden, or crone. And I'll also allow you just to kind of give me a bit of a glimpse of what you're doing in this moment at the halfway house before the scene begins. Who wants to start? Joe?
Sure. I am in Mother at the moment. And Albert has been feeling the kind of surge that's been building, with the pending eclipse and, the rising. There's an ebb and flow to magic and nature, which Albert's very much connected to. But if anything, he's been more and more quiet and observant and concerned, as if he's under more stress, but he's doing his best to not show it. And he's been spending his time making sure that Raven is being taken care of, that she feels comfortable, that she feels safe. And to a certain extent, he's also been trying to see if this could be a permanent home for her if she chooses to stay. And so he's trying to have that conversation very slowly, as is his style. He's very long game, long con kind of guy. So I think that's what he's been spending his time on the last few days, so that he doesn't have to think about the thing he should be thinking about.
Do we get to know what that is?
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. So, okay, great. Who's next?
You can go. I'm gonna say I'm in Maiden, and I have this sort of idea that because Abigail has the most life outside of the house that I know of, if any of you want to correct me on that, that's fine. But she does have like appearances to upkeep at the church where her father is a pastor. But she can go stretches of time without going home, without it seeming weird. Like I think somebody in the coven has been, but like, if she's not there for weeks at a time, people are going to notice. But if she misses a couple nights sleeping at home, nobody's going to care. So she has been crashing in Raven's room a lot, just like looking after her, sleeping in like a cot on the floor, not a cot, some pillows are piled up on the floor, just making sure she feels okay and watched over, because I assume that leaving your family is a traumatic thing to do. And Abigail has her own fears about that, let's say. So that's what she's been up to.
Okay, so who's next?
I think that Cabe is in crone right now, just because right now he feels responsible for a lot of the things that are going on and trying to resolve them. So he feels a little embattled in a lot of directions, dealing with the county and also dealing with this girl and the possible threat and the Seven Sisters coming over. Right now he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, so he's a little cranky about that.
Does he view himself as sort of, if not the boss, the administrator of the coven?
Well, yeah, he is sort of like the mortal facing face of the organization in a lot of ways, because he has one foot firmly planted in both worlds. And I think that out of everybody in the coven, he more than anybody is actually, except for maybe Emily might have also, she's spread across, but I am definitely in both systems. So yeah.
Okay, what about Mel?
I think Mel is in Maiden right now and has been furiously trying to get the house into shape. But I feel like because she's got Raven there, she's trying to sort of integrate her a little bit, and kind of has that feel like kind of feels a little like rejuvenated by that, and not feeling like the youngest and maybe actually has somebody that she can show a few things to that, are new for Raven. And I think she takes a lot of pride in doing that.
So, Raven hasn't been eating. It has been at least a couple of days. None of you have seen her eat. Her temperament has been quiet and observant. She hasn't lashed out like she did when she first met you. The initiation kind of gave her positive energy for a while. But after a day or two, it started sinking in. It's almost like it's a cloud over her. She's not present. And she hasn't been eating. So that's been going on. And other than that, it's been pretty quiet. I mean, you haven't heard from the county. You haven't heard from the witches or other covens. You haven't heard much of anything, really. It's been over a weekend, so now it's Monday. You might hear more things today. At about 10 in the morning, there is a young man that enters the halfway house. I think people are accustomed to just kind of walking in expecting reception, even though I think maybe you guys use it more of as a home. So you might be used to the fact that people just kind of walk in. There's probably a bell. Is there anybody at reception right now?
Oh God, not me.
I mean, I probably will answer if the bell is rung because I'm still kind of shuffling around the house, furiously getting things in order.
Yeah, there's a young man who's wearing, it's cold out, so he has like a leather jacket on, but like a brown leather jacket, and he has a button-up shirt, really really clean cut type of guy, young, maybe in his early 20s.
Okay.
And he has this big smile and perfect teeth. It's like the kind of teeth that really, you probably spend too much time on his teeth. He just very very good with the teeth, or they were replaced. Who knows? But he's just like, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, yes, hi, hello. Can I help you?
I'm Alex Hale with the church over here. It's called the it's in my notes and I forgot what it was. The Harvest. Emily, help me.
Yeah, it's Harvest something.
Harvest Hills.
Harvest Hills. There we go.
I'm pastor over here at the Harvest Hills Church, youth pastor, and I just wanted to come and talk to you about this program that we're starting off, and wanted to see if you or any of your I don't know what you call them, guests, admits in the facility here would like to participate. Here's my card.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Hold on a second.
Sure.
And she's going to step away. Cabe.
He's looking at the coffee machine, which is still kind of rusted over and cobwebbed.
So I'm just like, I'm hollering for Cabe.
Okay.
I come down. I have our towel on. I just got out of the shower.
Oh my.
Oh.
I did not mean to intrude.
Oh. So there's this gentleman here who is from the church and wants to know if their program can work with ours, maybe. And I thought maybe you were the best person to talk to, but I also did not know you were in the shower, so sorry.
It's all right, hun. Your call was so urgent, I thought it might be an emergency, so I came right out. I'm sorry, sir, but as you can see, I'm a little bit indisposed.
I'm not.
And by the way, Cabe is absolutely completely comfortable in this kind of nudity. He doesn't really give a crap. And he goes, "Why don't you go ahead and wait for me in the sitting room? I'll be down in 5."
Oh, I'll do that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I'll be in the sitting room. Where's the sitting room?
I'll show you. And do you want, I don't know, coffee, water, something?
Whatever the good Lord provides.
Well, it's going to be whatever I find in the kitchen. So hopefully God has stocked it up for us.
Hopefully. I like your sense of humor, young lady. And he goes with you to the sitting room.
I'll be right back with something.
Good beverage.
So I'm gonna go off to the kitchen and see if we happen to have a fresh pot of coffee going or something.
I am just. I'm going to say that. What time of day is it? Pretty early morning.
Yeah, it's roughly 10.
Okay. Yeah. Raven has just. I'm not going to say Raven has just gotten up, but I'm going to try to get Raven to eat food. Is my. And not knowing someone from the church is that way.
Yeah. So this is Alex Hale. He's the youth pastor. You know him well. Basically the second in command.
Yeah.
So
he thinks we're best friends in some other life. No.
So Raven is sleeping. So you wake her up. She will kind of just hole up in the corner, and she's looking distant. Like she's obviously been sleeping, but it's not tired that you're seeing. It's sort of distance and despondence.
Mm-hmm.
Something's really bothering or weighing on her, and she's not really talking.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of sit there, and that thing you do when someone is just waking up, you kind of like run a hand over their shoulder or something, just to be like, wake up. We're not close enough for me to like run my hand over through her hair, but there is that, running your hand over her back, and I'm just after a minute or so of that, I'm like, you can, if there's something bugging you, you could talk to me or you could talk to anyone here, but yeah.
It's almost like when you shake up a pop.
Mm-hmm.
Midwest, they call it pop, right?
They call it pop, yes. Thank you. I feel at home.
It's like you shake up a pop and then it's going to blow. That's what it's like. I don't know what's happening. I don't feel like I can contain what's happening in my body.
Yeah. So the same thing happened to me just a year ago. Like a whole bunch of stuff hit me all at once. And I realized some things I maybe should have realized long ago. And it's hard because it's almost like you start out skiing at the top of the hill and then you go downhill and it's faster and faster and faster. You're not sure if you can stop. But at a certain point, you realize you know how to ski and like you have the poles and you know how to guide yourself. And like the part where you're scared becomes the part where you're excited at how fast you can go. Now, do you want to have some Cheerios?
I'm not really that hungry. Thank you, though.
You got to eat, Raven. You got to eat something, okay? I just writerly aside, Abigail knows the power of a chosen name being spoken and says the word Raven a lot.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do a move here because you are trying to get her to do something that she does not want to do.
Yes.
And we look on the if we look at the new conflicts right now. Right now we have Solar Eclipse and Seven Sisters are coming. Those are going to be in play probably for a while. Raven hasn't been eating, it should say, and Alex Hale are here. So we'll be confronting Raven hasn't been eating.
Okay.
And I think you're doing a befriend, it sounds like to me, because you're doing this to get closer to her, not necessarily to, cause her to do something.
Yeah. Okay. So that's plus mercy?
Yeah, that's mercy.
Okay. Yeah, that is a 10.
Great. Okay, so that conflict is resolved, and you get a charm. Oh, and everybody else should have a charm for starting the session. So you all have one, and
so
Emily, you now have two. Yeah. So
the power.
You have narrative control, and Raven's off the board, so you can control her right now.
Okay.
And decide what happens.
Yeah. So Abigail's like, listen, you haven't eaten anything in days. Like I saw you had a little bit of that tomato soup last night, but that's not enough. You need something to live off of. So whatever you like, as long as we have the ingredients, I'll make it for you. I'm a pretty good cook. This is a lie. But yeah, whatever you like. And Raven is sort of like, like burrows her head down and is like, I like those little oatmeal packets that you like add the water to, and then you make like oatmeal in the microwave. And Abigail is like, I think we have some of those. They might be from 1987, but I think we have some of those. So she gets Raven up out of bed, and they head downstairs to see that yes, is it all right if I say without spending charm that there are oatmeal packets in this house?
Yeah, you have narrative control at this point.
Okay, great. So
As
there
it
are
relates to
there
the
are
conflict. Yeah.
there are oatmeal packets in this house. So I enter the kitchen and start preparing some in the microwave.
Okay, and the sitting room is opposite of that. So I think as you go down, though, you recognize the cologne that Alex Hale uses, because he uses a lot of it.
How common is this cologne?
It is probably not that common because it's his signature cologne.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. I'm like, but I also am like, I don't think Alex would ever be here. Like, how would Alex be here? So like, that's kind of what's rotating through my head. And I just decide I'm going to hang out in the kitchen as long as I humanly possible, just in case.
What's Albert doing during all this?
It's been a rough morning for Albert. The mornings have been getting rougher, but today was the roughest. He struggles to wake up, and the first thing he does is he's realizing that he's waking up in a sweat, which hasn't happened in a long time. And he reaches up and he finds a thread, one of the many threads that he's strung all across his room. And as he runs his finger across it, it's almost as if it's the needle of a record player scratching along. And as he runs his finger across the line, it's almost as if he's starting to come back to himself, as if he's remembering again. And he traces it until his finger hits the tag that he's hung there. The tag says, Albert, Whitefeather. And again, the same ritual he does every morning. My name is Albert. My name is Albert Whitefeather, and this is a safe place. He begins the rest of the day and walks down the hall. He kind of stops by Raven's room and sees, oh, she's up. That's good. He continues down, and then he notices there's someone else. There's another presence in this house that isn't a coven member. And he kind of just like eases over, and he's going to observe from afar as he usually does. And he's going to listen into who this person is that Cabe is speaking with.
Cabe's not there yet. It's just Mel and this youth pastor.
Okay. He's going to be just watching and observing before he makes any decisions yet.
So, what did you find in the kitchen there?
I think that if this is okay with Jim, that before you went and got your shower, you did a pot of coffee, so it'd be ready when you got it out of the shower. It seems like something you would do. So I feel like there was coffee that was
That
available.
sounds completely appropriate. Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring a cup of coffee.
The Lord does provide. Thank you. And what's your name?
I'm Mel.
Mel. I'm Alex. Do you work here? Or are you a patient, or what do they call the people that?
People. We don't have an official name for them, as far as I know.
Actually, I walk in. We don't lack labels. It makes things a little bit more difficult.
Yes. Well, thank you for the coffee. And it's a
yeah,
pleasure to meet you.
Coffee.
Yeah, I'll let you two discuss things.
Oh,
Bright smile and a shake of hands.
yeah, he has a good grip, drenching in cologne. Really great teeth.
Please have a seat. Let's have a chat. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm with the church here in town, and we're looking to expand our ministry to places with unfortunates that might need a little bit of the light of Jesus in their lives. So I've been visiting places like yourselves to see if we could come up with an event or an activity or something where we bring in the people that are troubled here into the light. And it can be as simple as a Thanksgiving dinner or any sort of service that we can provide as an organization. And I just wanted to kind of pick your brain about that. I'm really focused more on the young people and their challenges as they discover themselves and their place in this world.
Well, faith is a very important part of discovering your place in the world, don't you think?
Well, yes.
Well, as you know, our organization is non-denominational. We don't really align ourselves with any faith, since we like to keep our options open depending on who comes in. We don't like to be discriminatory in any way. Actually, it's part of our charter and part of the reason why we get money from the government. We serve everyone equally.
Well,
I don't see any
can understand
problem.
that.
I don't see any problem with some light cooperation. After all, we both have the same purpose. We want to bring light into the world.
Well, we're aligned. May I ask, and if it's too much to disclose, I totally understand, but I might have an offer.
I touch him gently on the hand and go, "Don't worry, ask me whatever you want."
Oh, thank you. Well, I have to ask as guide, why are you touching him on the hand?
Because he finds him attractive.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a move, or maybe
No,
it is, but
just
okay.
He's very handsome. I can confirm.
Well, yeah, and if this is too much of an imposition, I do not want you to feel uncomfortable. But what is your budget from is it the city or the county that gives you your budget?
Well, we have several contributors. The county actually is one of the primary ones, of course. And you'd forgive me if I was reluctant to disclose any actual numbers.
Oh, sure. Well, the reason I ask is because our congregation really does invest in the community, and if there was an opportunity for us to adopt this center, we would be interested in that. I do not know what the budget is, but I do know that in service to God, we could do really great work with the youths here in this center. And you wouldn't be confined by what the county says you should and should not do. I mean, I've heard whispers that this new county supervisor is causing a little bit of havoc.
Are you familiar with the Jewish faith?
Oh, well, yes, the chosen people of God, absolutely.
Do you know why they wear a yarmulke?
Well, I think it has something to do with prayer.
It symbolizes the idea that there's always someone above you. God is always watching.
Well, we have no disagreement there.
When we are in this business, there's always someone above us. And those are usually the people that are kind enough to contribute. Now, one of the reasons why we like taking money from the county, as long as we fulfill their guidelines that are somewhat basic and very altruistic, we're free to govern ourselves as we will. Now, of course, you would see that us giving away any of that autonomy is a difficult proposition to begin with. So if this was something that we were interested, we'd have to discuss exactly what those limitations are and how much contribution you would have.
Well, it's just a suggestion. I will go back to the pastor and we'll talk it over. I think that, and I don't mean to intrude. It's just it just comes as an opportunity, I think.
Well, we're always looking for new opportunities, and we always have our door open for generous people that have kindness in their heart. And that's really what we're all about, is kindness of the heart.
Oh, yes.
And I do believe that you, such a sweet man as yourself, your intentions are absolutely pure. And I don't want to cast any aspersions, but you have to know that this organization is run by a board, and I would have to run anything directly through them. And I would have to have a higher level of detail in order to be able to do so. But I like this as an introductory conversation. Our our hearts are open to whatever you have to offer.
Well, that's great. And if the county pulls the plug for whatever reason, we're here for you. We're your safety net.
Why would they ever do that?
Well, there's whisperings around here that there's some unsavory folk trying to get in on what you're doing here. And small town, we hear the accusations that are coming in front of, things that I know that you're not doing. But there are whispers of unsavory activities. I don't really want to go into the rumors, but we can help you.
Oh, bring a little legitimacy to our organization, you say?
Oh, well, whatever you might call it, but we just want to help the youths that are impacted here, and that's my interest. So,
why don't you leave me your contact information and let me go over this, and we'll be in touch.
He hands you his card. Very good, and maybe we can do a potluck or something. We can bring some of our goods here and host a Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, we definitely do have the space, and we have hungry stomachs to feed. I would welcome that.
Very good. I will call you about that.
Very good. It's been very nice to meet you. I'm surprised we haven't run into each other before.
Well, maybe you should go to church.
Oh, maybe I should. It's been a while.
He's This is obviously the close of the conversation, but he's actually pausing a little uncomfortably long to look around. And actually finds himself going the other direction, which is actually towards the kitchen.
No.
Could I offer you anything else from the kitchen since you're on your way?
Oh, no. I was just going to return this coffee mug and get it all washed up for you.
Nah, that's fine. I'll go ahead and take that from you. After all, that is my black green coffee that I have imported from the West Coast.
So, why are you doing that? Do you want to just get him out, or are you actually trying to protect Emily, who might be in there? Not Emily,
I am trying to protect Emily,
Abigail.
who might be in. I'm trying to protect everybody else that's in here from this guy.
So that is
I'm getting bad vibes.
Yeah, you're going to be confronting Alex Hale is here, and the conflict, and the move is protect, which is a mercy roll.
Okay. With my +1 mercy, that is an 8.
Okay. He does stop, and he just hands you the coffee and says, well, very good then. I guess there's nothing left to see. It says you're muted.
Well, I appreciate you dropping by, and you just give us a call any other time you want to come by. A call.
I understand. And he kind of curtly leaves.
Son of a bitch. All right.
What now? Well, actually, that might conclude the chapter. Because Alex Hale is not there anymore.
Well, actually, I'm going to look for Abigail and make sure that she is okay. And not in a place where she could be, observed from a window outside, since this guy might be peering in.
I have positioned myself with my back to everything because the microwave is just conveniently there on the counter. It's conveniently positioned in a way that I can turn my back so that if anybody saw me, they'd just see my wig and etc. So that was I prepared for in case, because the second I heard that voice, I was like, shit. But yeah, I have positioned myself in a way that hopefully he won't be able to see me. Yeah, I do want to say that Abigail has never mentioned to any of you who she is, but because of her status within the community, some of you may have figured it out. So, but yeah, Abigail is not forthcoming about that information.
Oh.
Yeah, you get into the kitchen. It seems like Abigail's okay. Is Mel in there too?
Probably.
And Raven.
Yeah. Happily eating her apples and cinnamon oatmeal.
We had a lovely little visit from the youth pastor from the church.
Yeah, did that go okay?
No.
Oh,
Albert is going to now walk in and join the others, having observed from afar.
Apparently, there have been rumors of certain activities at this house that are unsavory. He was unwilling to give any details, but apparently, someone is trying to besmirch our good name.
We're going to move into a meeting chapter now. I think the conflicts are subsided. So you have narrative control if you need it.
I mean, then we should probably find out what people are saying exactly, right?
I would agree, yes.
They're saying you're witches. She's eating her oatmeal.
Yeah, and Abigail is just standing and listening, and is like, "Yeah, they're always on the lookout for that sort of thing there."
Who exactly is they?
Everybody.
I mean,
Dad's saying it.
I know a little bit about Harvest Hills Church. I went there a little bit, a while back. And yeah, they really preach about how witchcraft is bad and like how it's a corrupting influence in the world. And, how we're all Satanists, which, I mean, cool in some sense, but also, yeah, they kind of want to like eradicate us.
Sounding a lot like the ravens that visited us not long ago.
Yeah, I'm a little less worried about people that can turn into birds than I am about the church across the way.
Go ahead.
Because they got something that they've got to hide as well that they can do, but as opposed to just, yay, God.
I have friends in the church. I think I can handle them.
Well, I would say that this higher level of scrutiny on us is badly timed, seeing that we have several covens of our kind coming to visit very soon. And if nothing will serve better than to spotlight our guilt as to what they are accusing us of than several hundred overpowered witches in the middle of a magic vortex.
Discretion isn't necessarily one of our strong suits, especially when so many of us gather.
Could we tell them that it's a gathering of other halfway houses or something?
Like a convention, like a halfway house convention, where we just happen to be like raising the dead en masse. I don't know what happens at these things.
That only happened one
Wait,
year.
what?
We stopped doing that.
Okay, all right.
Although mob of zombies attacking the church does give me a giggle.
Albert bites his tongue.
Oh, in a merely an ironic way.
Look, why don't I see if I can reach out to some of my friends at the church and see what they're saying, or if this is just. Alex sometimes goes on fishing trips, and I wonder if this is just one of those.
Fishing.
Just like he has a suspicion, and then he tries to go see if he can confirm it. I'm sure there's rumors about us around town, so he might have heard them. Like, he might just be doing this on his own. It might not be church sanctioned. Like, there's a difference between one guy. We can handle one guy like that. Like the whole church, that's tricky.
Well, he did come in guise of his organization and wanted to put together a potluck or fundraiser along with us. So I would assume that he had some authority to be able to make such offers.
Yeah, but so there's lots of times when people go and just do a thing without telling anybody they're doing it, and then just assume that when they get the okay, it'll be fine. That like they can just go ahead and proceed. I mean, we know about that here too. Like, there's been all kinds of people who've just been like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. And then it, we all kind of go along with it. I'm just saying a church isn't that dissimilar from us. They're just, this one's playing on the other side.
Easier to ask for forgiveness and permission.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I get a feeling that a lot of people around here are keeping secrets, and there are a lot of disadvantages to that. And that secrets never really get kept because truth always finds a way. I think they're keeping something secret. They know something and they want to act on it. And they know that we're keeping something secret. So we got to make sure that the right bubble bursts on this one.
Raven finishes her oatmeal and says, "My dad told them."
Oh. Your dad's an asshole. I'm sorry.
I thought you
But-
cursed him. I thought nobody would pay attention to what he said.
I thought I did. Perhaps he is more cunning than I thought.
We lived through an Inquisition. We'll live through this. Don't worry about it, doll. We'll be all right.
Comparisons to Inquisitions don't really instill a lot of confidence.
Well, you set a baseline with worst case scenario.
Yeah, you figure out the worst and you figure out the best, and like you just assume neither of those is likely to happen.
And can't you just
Hopefully.
witch him away or something? I mean, how does the magic work?
How would you like me to witch away your family, honey?
No, the church, the people that are
People would
that guy with the
probably
teeth.
people would probably notice if we did that. You have to be more subtle about it. You can't just like blow it up unless it's, I mean, you could, but it like you really want to know you had that was what you wanted to do.
Something about that phrase seems to have struck Albert in a deep way. He's doing less of a good job hiding his reactions. But he's doing that thing again where he's visibly working through something and trying to not make it look like he wants to talk. But he does want to talk.
So where do we go from here?
We need more information, and Abigail was kind enough to offer her services in order to be able to get some more of that. And once we know a little more, maybe we can find out a more clear course of action. As for right now, other than blowing some things up, which I highly don't recommend, I say we stay put until we know more.
Raven, do you think I could have a chat with your father?
I don't know. Raven shrugs.
Where does he usually keep himself?
You have a farm, but that's not where he goes.
Wait a second. That was the youth pastor. Did he say anything about like taking care of the youth?
That's what he kept talking about up and down.
Well, Raven's dad tells the people at the church, and they send the youth pastor. Abigail is not explaining how she knows this much about the church hierarchy, by the way. And they send the youth pastor, like, that's clearly what they're going to see is like their wedge into this. If they think we've like kidnapped a child, like, or taken a child, or even just like are corrupting a child, you know. I
He
think
was very
that's-
intent on looking around.
Yeah, I think that's their window in. I think that, a Raven.
If the clan can't get me, they're gonna find somebody who can.
No, nobody's going to get you, sweetie. Okay. I'm going to look into this. We're going to figure this out. And it's just good to know that. It's good to have that information so we can know how to prepare. Right?
Far darker things have threatened to darken our doorstep, and we remain. You're safe here.
Oh, Dad's probably going to the militia by now. They're gonna come back. He's trying every front he can do.
We'll be prepared.
Maybe because like Cabe, you would know what it's called. I don't remember, but like it's where you get like a divorce from your parents.
Emancipation.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe we can turn this back against them as abusive caretakers.
That's a very good idea. Would you be interested in that, my dear?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get the ball rolling on it then. Legally, how old are you?
15.
All right. But if we can, maybe that whole idea, just the crux of it, is interesting to me. This is a situation that requires arbitration and judgment. Mayhaps if we decided to have a hearing on your status with members involved, where things are explained.
I have to go see them again?
No, you wouldn't have to go see them again. They'd probably be in your presence again, but I wouldn't suggest you going to see them at all. What I'm saying is maybe someone needs to be judged. Maybe things need to be looked at from all the angles. Perhaps a resolution can be come up with that people might agree to abide by.
Much things can be gleaned from a person with me just being in the room with them.
Well, these people are professed witch killers. I wouldn't want you going there by yourself.
I'll go.
I think that a lot of us should go if anybody goes. But probably someone should stay behind and look after the girl.
Okay, so what's the plan? Focus of the meeting chapter is to get all of your resources and determine what to do next.
I'm going to go to the church. That's my assumption.
Mel wants to go with Albert for the confrontation, but also realizes she's probably gonna be stuck behind watching Raven.
Raven, what do you suggest we do?
If he's rounding up the militia, then they'd be at the train station.
It's been a while since I've gone sightseeing. Maybe a trip. Albert's going to start walking towards his walking cane. And he's just going to let whoever wants to come. But it seems like in Albert's mind, the plan will be to go and have a look at the train station, at least. He has a suspicion. Well, I'm just going to say, I have a suspicion that there is something to this rumor being spread about us and its source that needs to be nipped in the bud. This need not come to violence. I just need to know for sure.
Tell you what, I'll stay behind and start working on the emancipation paperwork and keep an eye on Raven. If you want to go, you guys go.
Okay.
Abigail. Yes.
We will never ask you to do anything you don't feel ready for.
I know.
Good.
I'm ready for this.
I know. And kind of leaving it there, almost trying to hint that Albert knows a little bit more, but how much more? We don't know. But there's like a moment of recognition of like, he's kind of been waiting for you to take this step. And if he can convey being proud of somebody just by a look that's the look he's giving you right now.
I'm just being like, what does he know? Oh my god.
All right, we're going to go into a mission chapter. So I need to know if your if your aspect has changed and if you have a new aspect, because you're now going to do a mission. Mission chapters are sort of the opposite of menace chapters. This is when your witch can really shine. This is when you are the badass. This is the slow motion sequence as you're preparing to go and take some names. So your aspects magic will be in wheel, which means you get an advantage. So you roll 3 dice and pick the highest 2. So that's what you want to think about when you choose your aspect.
I'm going to switch aspects. I'm going to go with Mother because I feel like she's feeling a little bit more like adult and capable going into this.
I'm going Mother too because this is a space I know well. This is a space that I feel, much as I hate it, I feel at home there. So.
Reaching for the cane is also part of Albert, knowing that he's shifting into the crone. He's visibly looking more his age, the age that he should be. The wrinkles are a bit more defined. There's more gray in his beard. He's a bit more crooked and bent. But also there is kind of like a coiled power to him, like kind of like a panther ready to spring kind of a presence.
I'm going straight into Mother just because that's the role that I'm encompassing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a caregiver and secure safety. So.
Okay, so Albert and Mel, are you both going to the train station? I'm actually not sure where Mel was going. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Albert.
Okay.
I'm the only one staying put.
Right. So, all right, I think we should start with... Where do we want to start? I think we should start with the train station.
I'm going to go get some water.
Do the thing.
So this is sort of toward the center of town, but town is, there's a main street. Many of the shops that were at Main Street are long closed. There's a theater down there that's closed. A lot of the commerce has moved into the suburbs, what few suburbs there are. But the train station was sort of the big expense back in the 50s when it was built, and it was this multi-story sort of like neo-Gothic structure. But the line was killed back in like the early 80s, so it's really been abandoned for the better part of what is that, 30 years or more, almost 40. So this has been kind of where, those without shelter or those that are running away from the authorities or any of them, they hang out there. It's not a safe place to be. This is probably about midday when you arrive. How do you get there?
Albert doesn't drive. He doesn't like being in cars, but I don't know if Mel volunteers to take one of the house cars. He'll ride with, but he's not going to drive.
Yeah, I could drive there.
So, and so this is the mission. So this is like that moment in the movie where you're seeing, wow, okay, they aren't just people; they're witches, right? So
yeah.
So
my slow motion scene, I think, will start when we get out of the car.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah, definitely once getting out of the car.
What does it look like?
Go ahead.
The car door swings open. The first thing you see is a boot. It's an old, dusty, leathery boot that kind of... Is it snowing at this point?
Not yet, but it will
be.
It's
cold. Okay. There's a boot that kind of crunches onto the gravel, and you pan up, and then you see the cane, and it's this really old, gnarled... It looks like literally like a long tree branch. And at the top, it's been carved into what looks like animal totems, one head above the other. And you see this much older version of Albert very slowly but very intently walking out of this car. And in this moment, he's realizing how long it's been since he's been outside of the house, and his senses are sharp. He's tasting the air. He can tell the season of the plants nearby. He can feel so much, and he's also remembered this is why he doesn't leave the house. But in this moment, he's ready. He's a cannon that's been loaded, and he wanted to come here alone for that reason. And you kind of see that in his eyes.
I mean, Mel gets out of the car and she kind of seems to have a little bit more authority in her stride than she normally would. I think seeing Albert looking older has made her feel like she knows that he's super powerful, but it makes her feel like, you know, she can really shine as, you know, a backup here and be a protector in a way that she usually hasn't, because she has so many problems with her powers and worries about controlling them. But the fact that Albert trusted her enough to come with him, she looks more sure of herself than usual, with kind of the, you know, cloak billowing behind her kind of moment, and, you know, standing next to
Yes. Albert's going to take a moment and share that many years ago, this was where I first came when I was seeking shelter. The trains had stopped running already, but this was the safest place in town for a person to disappear, to not be bothered by society, to find some measure of shelter, a roof. The people in there are not our enemy.
Not unless they make themselves that way.
Good.
There once was a parking lot here, but it's long since been overgrown, and it's cold, so a lot of the frost damage is done, and all the weeds are dead. But a convoy of motorcyclists and a couple of flatbed trucks come careening through, and there are all these sort of young men howling and yelling as they go by, and one of them even whistles at you guys as they pass. You can tell even some of them are openly armed with rifles. They go kind of careening, and they just sort of get off of their vehicles and start marching into the train station, like they own the place.
Albert is going to walk straight in. He's going to be looking for clusters of people dressed in the way that the Raven clan were dressed. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you when you come inside, it's sort of all of the windows have been broken with time, and so you have these dusty beams of afternoon light coming through, reflecting dust all the way through this large open chamber. There are probably hundreds of people in there in various states, many of them sleeping in sleeping bags at different corners of the room, some of them just sort of walking around, making deals with one another. And the moment you walk in, it's just a whole murder of crows just goes scattering from inside the chamber out the windows. And a lot of people are now just sort of looking over at you. You're strangers. These militia type people are all in there, and they're kind of taking over a corner of the building where they're just sort of hanging out and checking ammunition and sitting there and just sort of goofing off. But when you come in, they all stop and look at you. And so the entire station, all of the people in there are quietly watching.
Albert is going to, put on a show of looking as old as he's appearing now, and he is kind of straining his breath a little bit more, and he's, kind of projecting out into the crowd to no one person particularly, but he's saying, begging your pardon, but where might a lost pilgrim find some shelter? Me and my granddaughter are in need of some help. Be there any good Christians among you?
Okay, what's your goal here? What's your objective? What do you want to happen?
I want them to bring me to whoever's in charge.
So this is a navigate others, which is wisdom. And you're confronting volatile militia. I'm going to change the desktop so people see the conflicts that are in play.
Are they volatile? Maybe they're just misunderstood militia. Marginalized militia. Shall I be rolling something?
Yes, sorry. You're rolling your wisdom. And
wisdom.
I forget, you were in Mother, right?
I am in Crone.
Oh, you're in Crone. That's right. Oh,
This
you made
is
a big
not
deal about that. Sorry.
Yes. We had a whole slow motion scene about this, Chris.
Yeah. I'll some more of this coffee. Actually,
Boiled like a panther, I am.
While you're rolling that, I'll be right back. I need to close the door because I'm afraid some night animals are about to get in.
I hope some night animals get in.
Yes.
It's just like raccoons and like some coyotes. It'd be great.
Maybe a possum.
Yeah, I was
If
afraid
a crow
possum would
flies
get
in,
in.
I'm gonna freak out.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I roll 1 dice or 2 dice here?
So you're rolling 2.
Okay.
It's 3, take the best 2, right?
Not only on magic.
Only on magic.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's just 2 for this. Okay. 6 and a 5.
Well, that's
and then I'm I
Whoa.
believe I'm. Do I get a minus? I believe I get a -1 if I'm in Crone.
Your Crone will
Right,
give you a
I am
plus
in
one. It'll give you a +1 if you are.
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah,
Right. Gotcha. No, then it's a 6 and a 5.
All right, cool. So you have, I'm going to say, subdued the militia, which means it might come back as a conflict.
Okay.
But you have narrative control. They're still in play, so you can kind of narrate their action, their reaction, but not necessarily their action.
Yeah. I'm making a show of being a very vulnerable, maybe a little bit senile old man trying to just find some cover, trying to find a place to, maybe sleep the night off. And he's presenting himself in such a way that he's trying to sniff out who kind of speaks that language of God and service, but like in a zealous way. He's trying to work his way up into who's in charge here.
Okay, and so, but what happens?
I would
Does
say
somebody come forward? You have narrative control. We just can't control the militia.
Yeah, I would say somebody comes forward and says, perhaps you should meet with. I don't know what the name is yet, but
He knows who to meet with.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to make an introduction for me, or he's going to point me to how to make that happen.
The militia, I was sort of taunting you. They're kind of like chuckling quietly to themselves, but they don't posture. They're just, one of them actually looks over at Mel's like, "That one yours?" and then goes back to the other guys.
Shoots him like the dirtiest look.
So this kind of is some homeless guy, probably maybe a little older, walks you into the train station and actually brings you downstairs. Meanwhile, the door has been left open at the halfway house, and Cabe realizes this because a chill comes in. And then suddenly dawns on him, Raven's gone. She snuck out.
Okay. I am going to try to suss out which direction she went. It's snowy out. Are there any prints out front?
It's cold, but not snowy. But there might be prints, because if it gets cold enough, you'll leave prints in the dead grass. So you can do Oh, is it called assess? I don't know. We haven't used that move very much. I don't have it in front of me. But there's a wisdom roll to against the conflict Raven is missing. Should probably pull up the character sheets. Awareness, that's what it's called. You can also divine too if you want to go that way. Since it's a mission, you're actually encouraged to use magic because you get an advantage when you do. If you can make your magic work. Oh, your audio.
Nothing magic-wise really seems to work for this, so I think I'm just going to go for the mundane roll.
Okay.
And that is at a -2, which I got a 5.
Okay. So you go out and you really don't have any idea where she's gone, but you can tell by the prints that she didn't leave. She was taken.
That's interesting.
And worse. What would you like to do?
Well, Abigail's already at the church, so I'm going to send her a text letting her know that Raven has been taken and to keep your eyes peeled. She might have been taken to the church. And then I'm going to move over to the train station. I'm going to lock the door behind me, though.
Okay, so we'll cut to Abigail, who gets that text. And this is at the point you're walking into the church.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go ahead and describe what that looks like. This is a mission.
So this is a Monday before Thanksgiving, so it's one of the Mondays traditionally the least busy day at a church, and it's one of those big, almost like a big box store, but for religion. It's one of those like big spaces that has the very vaguely beige everything. There's a little coffee shop off in the corner as you enter. There's some kids running around because there's a school here. But like the sanctuary itself is all locked up. It's kind of quiet here. It's not as busy as it would be, but most of like church staff is here, and the last sort of trickle of kids coming in from recess to head back to their classes are all.
I'm assuming Abigail's in guy mode.
Abigail's so in guy mode. Abigail is like wearing the popped collar, has the frosted tips. It's straight up evangelical Christian dude.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so your text gets in. You get Cabe's text, but you were also getting about 12, 13 texts from Jocelyn at the same time. And it's sort of kind of intermixed with all these texts, but the texts are, why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep doing this? Why? And there's like 13 of those. And in the middle there's a blip from Cabe that says, Raven's got, I don't know what Cabe wrote, like Raven's been taken or something like that.
So I stare at this, and you know how when you get texts you don't want to get, but you have to do something else? They just become like a splinter that's like driving further into your brain. I have to shut that phone off because I have a different phone for my other life, and I turn that phone on, and I have to just like put that in the other one in my pocket because I have to go be another person.
So, your dad, Pastor Hawkins, what's his first name?
I don't think he has a name, so let's give him one right now. Let's say his name is William Hawks, Bill Hawks.
All right, so your dad is there, obviously, moseying around. He doesn't have a lot to do at that point, and sees you come in and says, oh yeah, come on over here. I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah. Hi.
What you doing here anyway?
I'm just stopping by. I was gonna talk to Alex.
Alex. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's back in the office.
We're great friends. So I was gonna see what he, if he wanted to do anything this week, or if he was tied up with Thanksgiving plans.
Well, I hope he is. We have a big event this weekend. By the way, you are helping out, right? On Thursday
Oh,
night.
of course, of course. Wouldn't miss it. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Haven't seen much
Helping.
of you. I wanted to talk to you about that.
I mean, I've been here. I've been for services and all the stuff I need to do. Right? Am I missing things that are important?
Well, you haven't been home to see your mother
Yeah.
at all this week, and I kind of needed some help around here setting up for the events. Just wondering where you've been.
Yeah. 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 Are you? I really. I'm worried about a friend of mine, and I thought Alex might be able to tell me how to help her. But maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe I should just go.
Oh, what's your motivation here?
She doesn't want to confront her dad.
Okay.
She just doesn't want. She doesn't want to be having this conversation. But like, I think that if he was just like, hey, we need to talk about this, she'd be like, oh, okay, and like she would crumble. But she just really doesn't want to be here. So
Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is roll protect.
okay.
Trying to protect yourself, which is mercy against the conflict. Dad's in the way.
Okay. That is an 8.
Okay. He when he sees you kind of act that way, he's like, "What?" Now I don't want to say that you're acting weird, but you're acting a little weird. So I'd like you to stop by the house tonight. Maybe we could do a little bit of, get some scripture out, work on some things together.
Yeah. I was supposed to take Megan to Olive Garden.
Oh, of course you were. Okay, he's in the back, and it'd be nice to see you every now and then, son. Thank you. And he just sort of huffs off.
Let's have a breath she's been holding the whole time since she walked in, and heads in back to the office area, which she knows well. She has an office back there to look for Alex.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the train station, scoop around a bit. So the two of you are brought down into a cold basement. This used to be probably a waiting room because it's sort of nearby where the boarding area would have been for the trains. But it's since carpet's all gone, and if it's not gone, it's been used in bad ways, and it's not a very pleasant place. And in the very back is an older man, obviously unbathed, unwashed. And he is sitting in one of the only chairs you've seen in this entire complex. And it's like one of those kind of aluminum fold chairs with the plastic strips. And he's sitting in that, and he has a copy of the Bible with him, and he's sort of really torn, tattered, old, gross. It's been with him probably for years, and he's just sitting there reading. And that's where he leads you. He says, "This is Joseph. He takes care of some of us in here."
Thank you very much. Does this Joseph look at all familiar from our encounter a few nights ago? Was he among the visitors that came to our coven?
No, but
okay.
You both realize once he looks up at you that he is a witch.
Interesting.
Witches can kind of sense it.
Yeah.
You can sense sort of an aura coming from him.
Okay, that changes a lot of my approach. I'm going to look over at Mel to see if she's noticed what I've noticed.
she has, but I don't know if she's showing you that.
Yeah, I think she probably like takes just the tiniest bit of a step back from them when she realizes it, but tries to, this is her chance to try and be cool. So she's going to try and not show too much.
Albert is going to stand, in front of the person. He's not going to invite himself to sit or anything. He's going to stand and see if the person says anything first.
He's just looking up and looking at you. Obviously, he must know too, but he doesn't let on. Okay.
This is I think this is one of those old, like, whoever speaks first loses situations. So Albert's trying to play the game, but he just doesn't have the patience right now. I suppose introductions are no longer necessary, given that we all know each other in the way that we do.
I've heard rumors, but I was never sure.
I believe it was those very rumors that brought me to your doorstep today. I would love to address what you might have heard.
Well, I don't pay much mind, but he's flipping through the Bible again. I've heard that there are some devil worshippers out in the suburbs.
That is concerning.
Only if you worship the devil. Here it is. There's a passage in here I've always really enjoyed about the son that has left his father and has many trials and tribulations before coming back.
One of my favorites, but do enlighten me again.
Well, I believe that there is a missing young girl that should be with her family. I'm thinking maybe she's with you.
Can we talk about what defines family? Because family isn't just blood.
Albert winces at that. He's like, oh, okay. We can go with this.
It doesn't matter to me how you define family. But I do have a role here in this place with these lost souls. Their family structure is more important than anything. And when that structure crumbles, they lash out. Mundanes may be susceptible to our powers, but if one is driven enough, they can destroy our way of life. I have to protect my coven too. I do not need a war, civil or otherwise, in my hearth. I'm sure you understand.
In more ways than you may imagine. It is a difficult task juggling this safety, this security that we must carve out of a world of so much chaos and hatred and bigotry that would otherwise see us gone from this earth. It's a heavy burden, one I recognize in your shoulders.
I'm fearful of asking. Is she with you?
At this point, it would be foolish for us to waste time. There is no hiding information from each other. So, she is. And you would know that she has chosen that path because she has found her family.
You have initiated her.
She initiated herself.
I'm afraid this will be war. He looks up, and you see there are several armed militia people standing behind you, blocking the staircase back up. And we'll cut there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take something away. Go ahead.
No, it's it can wait. It can wait.
Are you sure?
I was just gonna do a magic about it if they're starting to be real aggressive.
They are.
So I was gonna maybe do a thing about it.
All right, let's go ahead and do it since you had a thing ready. The conflict is, well, volatile militia is still in play, but it's subdued.
Sure.
So here's an interesting way that this game works. I can make a new conflict, but what will happen is it'll escalate the situation.
Sure.
So, and I'll pay you a charm, or you can just spend a charm and go after the same conflict.
I guess I can spend a charm for that.
Okay. What magic are you doing?
I wanted to use one of my crone powers, even though I'm in Mother, but
Sure.
it's the you reveal to the subject and all of those you choose that are connected with them their untimely and violent ends. I want to scare the shit out of them.
You're going after the militia, right?
Well, it's the target and whoever I choose. So I really want it to be focused on Joseph, but also like the guys that are starting to move in. Like I want them all to be kind of taken aback, and I want to scare them basically.
Sure. Okay. All right. So what does it look like when you cast this? How does your magic look?
I think with this, it's just a little more subtle looking. I think she kind of goes very dark and very sort of almost sallow looking while she's casting this, and it's just a little bit like a Willow-esque kind of thing where her eyes look darker and everything about her just seems more almost vampiric in a way. And it's just a wave of energy that just ripples out, affecting them. And as it ripples through them, kind of like shows them what their, untimely and violent ends would be if they're going to continue with this. So basically, it's a show of force.
Mm-hmm. Sure. All right. That's a severity roll. Just a straight roll because it's not within your aspect right now.
Okay. Severity. So I have a +2 to severity. That's my jam.
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Oh no. The dice have betrayed me. I have a 6. Oh. Damn.
Just under.
The moment that you cast the spell, you hear the slamming of the Bible shut. He slams it shut. And there is this brilliance, sort of this angelic brilliance that just forms in front of them and envelops the entire room and then comes back into his Bible. And he's just looking at you. Doesn't seem to have any effect at all. However, you're feeling a very strong presence in there. I think you might even be able to see it, but we'll hold there.
Okay.
So let's go back to the halfway house. Cabe has just left and was discovered that Raven was taken. What do you do now?
Well, I'm leaving Abigail to reconnoiter the church, and the other possible location would be the train yard. So I'm heading towards the train yard.
Okay. All right. So
very angrily.
So yeah, we'll cut to the point when you arrive at the train yard, the train station, and there is as I described before, a lot of homeless here and there, some other people that are obviously the local militia, who probably practice their shooting out there, sort of this lawless area. So do you just go straight in? I'm picturing you being sort of deliberate.
So I drive in the Lincoln, and I'm wearing my black trench coat, and you see him pull a revolver out of the glove compartment and put in his back belt, get out of the car, sort of billowy, and just sort of walk straight towards the train station.
Okay. So you come inside, and there is a lot of people in there in the corners. All of them stop and look at you. You feel a pulse of magic, which actually I can identify as Craft of Mary, has just kind of exploded beneath you. So they're in the basement. Something's happening in the basement.
Now
you don't know if that's related to Raven or not.
I am assuming that the people in here look armed.
Some of them do, but they aren't wielding their weapons. So you do see some of these sort of suburban militia people in there, and they're looking at you, but they don't view you as a threat. They're not coming at you. In fact, some of them are kind of moving over towards the staircase that goes down into the basement.
I want to enact a magic spell. I'm going to use Black Terra, and that allows me to take full control of a mortal group.
Mm-hmm. And which conflict are you confronting? I'm going to move over to the board so we can look at it. We have Raven is missing. The Raven clan is here. There's a volatile militia. Those are the ones that could apply.
The Raven clan is here probably is a good one. Are any of these conflicts already dealt with?
Well, one was subdued, and then a charm was spent to reenact it, to put it back in play, but it wasn't subdued again. So it's open. The volatile militia, but that's happening downstairs. Although you can see some of them moving that direction, so they could be a target. You don't know the Raven clan is here, but if you go after that conflict, it will affect them. And Raven is missing probably doesn't apply based on the magic you're using. Unless you're trying to divine.
Nope. I am going to confront the militia, and I'm going to take control of the militia.
Okay. That is severity.
Yes.
Are you in Crone? All right, so that
and very much in Crone. I rolled a 13.
Okay, I was going to say,
nice.
you get real on that. All right, so what does it look like? What happens? You have complete control. Now, the militia is going to be resolved, I think, at this point. So you can just tell me what happens.
I'm just going to smile at him and says, y'all fellas are with me. And I start going downstairs.
There's some soldiers behind you. Well, soldiers, or, they have hunting gear. All right, so back at the church. You've gone into the office to see Alex.
Yeah, going back to see Alex. I'm a little unclear on how my seeing/talking to ghost powers work. So I'm going to ask you.
Please.
Yeah. So say there was a funeral at the church a couple days ago. Would there be like a spirit hanging around that I could see and or communicate with, or do I have to do like a spell for that?
Yeah, you would probably need to do magic to an extent. Now, the Hekate have a natural ability to see spirits, but it might be difficult to talk to the spirit, especially if the spirit doesn't know they're a spirit, or all the other things that happen. And, if there is a funeral, obviously you'll need to pay charm for that to be true.
I know. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do that. I don't think I need to just yet. I'm going to head back and knock on Alex's door and be like, "Hey, bro."
Hey, Jeff, come on in. How are you?
I'm fine. I've been, busy, 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 busy. Listen, I've been working with the halfway house over in Salem. We were pulling together a program for, uh, and Abigail's beginning to realize how not thought out this lie is, but it's just going to keep going with it. Yeah, we were putting together a program to bring in some out of towners. They're having a halfway house convention, and bringing
Halfway
some out of
houses have
towners.
conventions.
Well, yeah, they're it's like a meeting, and they're just going to meet up and talk about.
That's Salem's Hearth you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, Salem's Hearth. I just thought, if they're going to be in town, we should show them around. So I was working with them on, outreach, and they could come see the Christmas show, all that.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't go with them. Between you and me and the Lord, I don't think I don't think they're right. I've heard rumors that they've been with Satan.
I don't think that's true. I'm at a very.
I went there myself, and there's something strange about them. I don't like them. I'm gonna do an event there, maybe get some more information, but I just don't feel safe doing anything with them.
I never got that vibe. I mean, do you really think there are Satanists here? Come on, Alex. My God.
I've heard a lot of rumors. I've heard that they kidnap people.
The halfway house?
Maybe they're just creepy. I don't know, but there's something rubs me wrong about them.
Okay, well, I got a call from my contact over there. Her name is Abigail, and she mentioned that they had a problem with one of their people who stayed there. Teenage girl had coming from an abusive home. Exactly the kind of person the church should want to help. If you hear anything, because I know you're tapped in with the youths, just drop me a line.
So what's your motivation here?
I want to find out if he's involved.
So you want to see if he gives a tell or something when he.
Yeah, if he gives a tell, or if he knows more than he's letting on, or if he's just a patsy.
Is there a divination spell, or do you want to just do it?
Let me see. I think there may be a divination spell, but let's find out. No, not really. I could. Not really. I don't have a great way to do that, so I think I'm just going to do it. With mundane.
Yeah, I think it's to navigate others, which is a wisdom.
I'm in mother, so I get 1.
Yay! And the conflict you're going against, I just put on the table, is Alex is hiding something.
9.
Okay, cool. He does give a tell when you say that when you bring up Raven, and it's sort of a flinch. He obviously knows about this, and then he gives you a very suspicious look. I see. Well, whatever we can do to help them, maybe you're right. Maybe we should help them. And he holds up his phone, which you don't see anything on there, but he just goes, I got a call coming in, so I'll see you later, okay, Masson?
Why don't we, you and me and the girls will go hang out.
We'll call you.
Okay, cool.
Nobody's calling him. He's totally lying to you.
But I'm so happy to exit this conversation, so I'm just gonna. God, that cologne. Ugh.
So, back in the basement of the train station, you are all seeing sort of this golden, bright, luminous figure that then dissipates into a broader light and then disappears. And from behind it is Joseph with his Bible. He's still sitting in the chair. So now you're in my hearth. I don't think you should do that again.
And you shouldn't be supporting people that are abusing their children.
Let us take a step back if we could. Joseph, you and I, we understand what it means to protect a hearth. Let us not escalate this. Let us not create war. Think back to what we've learned about the devil. One of his most favorite tricks is passed by his tongue through lies. Someone has been planting seeds into your ear. Someone has been working you against us, another coven.
I think this is when Cabe
Someone
and his
is setting.
this is going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
At this moment, Cabe and his army are arriving. And
God damn it.
completely undermining what you're trying to do. However, I do want you to roll that because what you're trying to do is a rally, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll see how his reaction goes when he sees the militia coming down.
Okay. And that's a mercy. Okay. Woo! 5 and a 5.
Okay.
Nice.
The conflict you're confronting
I
is
was really, really nervous about that.
the conflict you're confronting is Joseph is protecting his hearth.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so when he sees, well, you tell me, you have narrative control and you get charm.
Okay. Ooh, sweet.
Because you have 10 plus.
Cool. I say to him that the devil's favorite trick is to pit his enemies against each other. Divide and conquer. We have too few witches alive already. We cannot afford to be at each other's throats. Now, I've come to you. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot, but understand that my hearth was attacked. The door to my hearth was ripped from its hinge. We were violated first. We've come seeking only answers, not war. And if there is some work of the devil being done here, rest assured, we stand to oppose it.
So you have narrative control. What does he do, or how does he
We're-
react?
We're gonna sit and we're gonna like talk it out. I was either going to force him by stealing his memories and finding out who exactly has been telling him what, or he can tell me right here and right now, and we be allies.
So he basically concedes. Now, does he take it in a sort of like, okay, I'm overpowered, or oh, you're right?
My intent is we're witches, we're blood, and we are hearth covens here. Like, we need to be working together.
There's this pulsing power coming in from behind you, which feels like a controlled, very dangerous, dark hatred. And you recognize that as Black Terra, and Cabe is behind you. You can just feel Black Terra is out. And Black Terra is sort of like, you know some shit went down. So this is a situation, Cabe, that you walk into. What do you do?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm looking for a missing girl. Anybody seen her?
She's gone?
She was taken.
I shoot a glance directly at Joseph, and he can either tell me what he knows or I'm going to take it from him, because now I'm protecting my hearth.
Okay, trying to think, given your prior success, I think he's still going to be, and I don't think you need to do a conflict for this. Because it's really the same conflict. One of mine took her.
one of yours.
To bring her home.
If she were to publicly announce what her home is, will you respect her word and defend her?
There will be a cost. This town will not be peaceful.
The situation is more dire than I think it seems. The girl has been sitting in an extraordinary amount of power, not knowing how to channel it. I'm afraid if she put under a severe amount of emotional duress, the outcome of this situation may not be under our control. Her powers are nascent. They still haven't fully emerged. We all know what happens.
I can't even look at you. Please bring down your magic.
I do so.
He completely relaxes at that moment.
Apologize. This is your hearth, and I have disrespected it. For that, I am willing to make amends. But, of course, you can see my obvious anger.
Raven is in the Vale. You'll find her there. So, your characters would know this, even if you players don't. The way this works is you have the real world, and then there's the Vale, which is the world beyond. Usually it means Fae, because that's sort of on the border, but can also mean spirits and everything else. So what he's saying basically is she's been brought out of reality into the other side. Witches that do that are usually, that are good at doing that, are usually hags.
Will you impede us if we mean to bring her to the home of her choosing?
We need to organize a meeting with her clan and settle this once and for all.
I think you and
she stays in the Vale.
I think you and I have an understanding that we want peace, not violence.
Seek out a safe, neutral place. I will bring the Raven kind. We will bring Raven, and we will broker this once and for all.
Proverbs 10:12. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses.
I apologize for our intrusion, and I thank you for your wisdom.
Is Mel okay with this? They
No,
plucked her
I
and
mean,
put her in the
she's
afterlife.
she's making a lot of faces at all of this that's going on, trying desperately to basically bite her tongue.
Okay, so if that's it, then we'll go into a meeting. You guys decide where that is and when. Clear the board a bit.
Olive Garden. Oh, no.
Ooh,
Denny's.
unlimited breadsticks do sound good. I can't lie.
That's going to be the neutral meeting ground.
Olive Garden.
Olive Garden.
So Abigail was not lying.
Yeah.
Bland Americana.
And how much later in the, is it just like immediately after this, or do you schedule time in the morning, or how's it work? Well,
I
it's,
would
guess
think
midday, so
Yeah.
I think this is something that requires immediate resolution, don't you?
Yeah, I feel like it would be really sudden, and we'd probably just go like right back to the house. Probably.
I actually really like the idea of everybody sort of loading up in the Lincoln, sort of like blank-faced, not a single word spoken on the drive, and we just sort of like drive back home and get out of the car and sort of like zombie into the house, sort of like still kind of a little bit bewildered by the goings on of the past few hours, and actually take a minute inside and just sort of like collect ourselves and then spontaneously spark up a conversation.
Yeah, I have to bring the other car back, but
Or we can split up. That's what
yeah, she probably takes the car back by herself because she's fuming. I mean, she looks like she's ready to explode.
Abigail's going to dial in. She's going to close herself in her office in the church and lock the door and dial into the meeting.
Yeah. Like
it's on Zoom.
the minute that she walks back into the house with them, it's just, are you fucking kidding me? They put her in the veil and we're trying to broker peace with a bunch of assholes. I don't understand.
I walk up to her and I just hug her. And I go, I know you're angry.
Does she
But
allow
hate
this?
doesn't-
Is this if this is not okay and you need to
Yeah.
deal with conflicts, then this can be a momentum scene instead. I'll leave that up to you because your character is definitely upset and there might be some conflict around this that needs to be resolved before we can go into a meeting.
Yeah, I think she's upset with where things went and is actually probably a little upset with Albert at this point.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so why don't we call this a momentum then? And maybe Abigail can just be on her way back. If that's okay.
Yeah, I is okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, great.
Or
Perfect.
you could be there already because you got back first.
Everybody just call me when you're ready for me. It's just just how it is. I got to hang out at the church a little bit. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I have to ask: is Mel going to accept the hug?
No, she's going to totally just shove it off. Both of you are just, I don't understand. And she's in danger and we're going to just wait and try and have some middle ground. They're going to do what they did before. They're going to fight for her. And who's going to mediate this? Who's going to make the final decision? She should be the one making the decision.
And she will.
I don't believe that. I've seen her family. I don't think that they're going to let her have a word in edgewise, and they're going to, if they don't get their way, they're going to fight us.
Well, that's why she has advocates, and that's why we're there. What you have to understand is the craft is not about retaliation. It's not about hatred or all that negative energy. It's about the fact that we are all intrinsically family and should love each other. And that's the test. And that is the lesson we need to teach. There's more to this than just raw power. There's more to this than just knowing what's right and wrong.
The lesson
It's
that
about
needs to be taught
guiding
is they
people.
can't go and steal children back and force them to deal with abusive families.
What
No.
we have to do now is make sure that they understand that there are consequences for all actions.
Well, I hope they get consequences. I'd sure like to serve up a few consequences.
You'll get your chance. I assure you.
So the
When-
conflict is Mel is mad at Cabe and Albert. It could
Yeah.
be also that Cabe and Albert screwed up, depending on how you look at it.
Mm.
But what needs to happen here is I need to know motivation. So when Cabe was talking to Mel, was it about because it's going to be either a moral stand or rally. So if you're looking for Mel's help, it's rally. But if you're trying to explain, why she's morally obligated to go along with this, that's a moral stand.
Well, the whole point of it being is that if we just simply go in there and take the girl back, it's just a prolonging of the conflict. If we can at all make people understand what needs to happen, we should try that first before we go in guns blazing. I'm not at all taking the guns blazing scenario out of play at all. But I'm just saying that we need to exhaust all peaceful avenues, because that is a more long-term resolution. And frankly, I would rather not kill this girl's family in front of her.
All right, so this is a wisdom roll. Now, Mel, what that means is that if he succeeds, then you get a charm for going along with it, but you don't have to.
Okay.
And then, Albert, I cut you off. Did you want to add to this? Sorry.
Do we want to see is there a roll that needs to happen here? Otherwise, I can.
Yeah, just to resolve
Yeah.
Cabe's monologue there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a wisdom roll.
I got a 7
All right.
with my stupid -2 wisdom, kids.
All right, so in this case, this is you get a charm if you go along with him, but you don't have to. That means you don't get the charm.
But really, I just look her right in the eye and I go, look, for good or for bad, this is still this girl's pappy, brother's mother. If things go to violence, how much harm do you think we're going to do on her if we deal with them violently?
Who's to say she wouldn't appreciate that approach?
Don't
I
you
will
think-
go along with this bullshit for right now, but if it comes down to it, I'm ready to fight.
We are all ready to fight. Don't misunderstand me. And this will be resolved one way or the other.
She deserves better.
Reluctant concession, you get a charm.
If Raven decides that she wants blood and vengeance, and she's prepared to carry the weight of that, she will have my full support and yours. But we need to ask her. She has to own this decision. We cannot decide for her. Otherwise,
You above everybody else should understand knowing the consequences of your choices before you make them.
what he said.
Way to dig in the dagger, guys. Thanks.
Mel, I brought you with me, and I'm glad that I did. Because if you were not there, I would have exploded that entire station, myself included, knowing that I would walk out of there unscathed. So deep was my anger, my need for them to answer for what they did to our hearth. But I would have to carry the lives of everyone in that station, the homeless, the ones who were never even part of any of this. They deserve better. And we deserve to be better witches.
Fine.
So Abigail returns, and we're in the meeting. So you have to unload what you did and figure out what to do next.
Yeah. So I just am, I'm just like going into a whole spiel, not having any idea what's happened. Just am like, oh, they didn't seem to know. Like, I know that they know more than they're letting on, but I don't think they know like where Raven went. I mean, I couldn't figure it out. I'm sorry. I really tried. But yeah, they definitely think we worship Satan. So that's great. You
Well,
guys
we know.
seem sad.
We know where Raven is.
Oh, where?
In the Veil. In the fucking Veil.
Well, we're gonna like go get her, right? Like that's what we do next, right?
Undoubtedly.
Why is everybody mad right now?
I don't want to talk about it. You guys tell her.
We're having a bit of a disagreement as to how to resolve this.
Well,
We met another witch, another Hoth, at the train station. And we bartered with them to get all parties involved on the negotiation table.
We're just gonna go get her though, right? Like we're not gonna like barter her away, right?
That seems to be the discussion we're having now.
I'm definitely team like raid the veil. Like we promised we would protect her and we couldn't like protect her for a week. Like how does that look to the rest of witchdom? Like they're going to see that we are easily overrun, and beyond that it's the right thing to do. She's part of our group, she's part of our family, and like I promised her, I made a promise, and I went and spoke to all those people at the church and pretended to be someone I'm not, and you are just going to fuck all that up for some treaty bullshit?
If I've been unclear, I apologize. Them coming to the table is not going to influence whether or not I go to the veil and then return her to us, so that she can speak for herself.
I mean, I trust that you guys want to do this, but these people don't have our best interests at heart. They just don't. And
These people have no idea what's in their best interest.
I think this is a trap. I think it's a trap. I think everything is aligned against us, and we're going to lose Raven, and she's going to be stuck there forever. Hold on. I think I know someone who can help us.
Then by all means.
Let me send some texts. You guys continue talking. I'm going to text a little bit.
Well, I don't see there any reason to continue the conversation. The plan is we retrieve our defendant, and so we have her with us during whatever mediation takes place and make sure that her voice is heard.
I forgot my name, Abigail. I'll just say I text my good friend Jocelyn on my phone. I send her a photo of Raven that I snapped of the two of us looking cool together, looking like friends, and I send her the full Terminator 2. Have you seen this girl? I don't expect a response. She's not very chatty, but I send it anyway.
In the meeting, you have narrative control, so if you want a response, you can have it.
It's just a long string of gibberish, but it's different from anything she's ever sent. Like, I can't tell if it's in another language or if it's a code or what, but it is a break from what she usually does, which is she just sends the same message over and over and over again. Usually it's so cold here, which, yeah, sure. But it's just a long string of gibberish and it doesn't repeat.
All right, so what are you doing next? Are you going to go to the Veil, or are you going to go to the meeting with the other coven?
Can we?
Albert has a bit of business in the Veil anyway. So he might do that first.
I'm gonna head to the Veil because I guess I have this feeling that like I might be helpful if there's spirits there. But maybe other people go to this meeting. I don't know.
Is it one or the other, or can we do one and the other?
You can do one and the other.
So yeah, let's trip over to the Veil first. I think that's a good idea.
Just pop by the Veil. Just
how are you going to get there?
Pick up a teenager.
I think Hekate has some Veil power.
I believe I do. Let me look at my sheet here. I have a power that allows a pathway for the dead to move on to their afterlife. even if they're trapped or bound to the physical world through magic or judgment, which is not quite what we were looking for, but feels like it's on the right.
Yeah, create a the maiden one. That one would work.
Okay.
It's the same idea. These are written loosely enough to be adaptable.
Okay.
The principle of Hekate is that you can commune with the veil, but get crossing over is a little tricky.
Yeah.
But we're in a meeting, so you can do it. It's just going to take a bit of effort.
Yeah, so listen, I think I can make a door. I think I can do it. It's usually for ghosts or spirits or the recently deceased, but I think I can hold it long enough for us to get through. Getting out, I'll work on it. Well, it can definitely get us in.
What are we waiting for?
Now, you sure that door is going to lead to the veil?
Like 90%.
I mean, I'd love to meet Frank Sinatra, but I wouldn't like to be stuck there.
I mean, like I said, I know I can get us there. It's the getting back that's going to be tricky, but like if we can get in, we can get out. I can make a door on the other side, right? Like,
I believe in you. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Okay.
What are your aspects as you're going into the veil?
Crone. Cranky AF.
Yeah, I'm crone.
I think we're all kind of crampy.
I'm sorry to tell you that this is a menace chapter.
Oof.
Not a mission. So your crone magic is going to be normal, but all other magic will be at woe. So you pick the lowest two. Not the mundane rolls. Those are just normal. So, all right. So you do the Beetlejuice chalk door.
Yeah. Do you want me to describe that?
I was just joking, but yeah. What is it? What does it look like?
Yeah. We say door, door, door 3 times, and then the door shows up. No. It is like I close my eyes and raise my hands, and the door opens and dead leaves from outside, because it's autumn, sweep into the house and start swirling around me. And then they hover in the air in front of me and start swirling in a circle that gets wider and wider and wider until it's big enough that a human being could walk through it. In fact, it's so big that it's like extending into the floor. And what is beyond it looks almost like a photo negative, which is not to say that that's how it looks once you go in, but from this side through this spell, it looks like you are looking at a photo negative. See?
Nice. Way better than what I had in mind. We are going into the veil. And if you've seen Stranger Things, I like to picture this a lot like the Upside Down, where the real world is kind of there, but it's a little inverted and darker and distorted. Who has not been in the veil before, character-wise? Okay. Wow.
I think I've had like little short trips, but usually like with a spirit, like with a guide. This is my first time on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Albert's communicated through the veil, but never embodied into the veil.
Yeah, it's like your spirit is left behind. You feel hollow and empty and cold. Your body heat's gone. And I think also it's more like your emotional center takes over, even over the rational. So it's easier to feel than to think. And when you go in, it's unexpected, because there is you probably didn't know what to expect, but what is unexpected is that there's this sort of large crater in the ground ahead of you. And the distorted buildings of the downtown Salem are sort of there, but it's like a massive crater, and like a meteor hit kind of big crater. And in the middle of the crater is Raven. And she's wearing just a black dress, simple black dress. Her skin is even paler than normal. And she has that look where she's kind of looking up with an intense anger. There's smoke coming out of the crater. And you see a swarm of ravens come up from behind her. And they all sort of just perch all over the buildings, on her, around. And she says, "You left me."
No. Nobody left you. We came to find you.
She lifts her hands, and there is a spirit in her hand that she has gripped. This is a witch. You want to watch me destroy her?
Why?
We're supposed to protect me.
And that's what we're doing. That's why we're here. We came for you.
Yeah.
We've been looking for you the entire day. We've been doing everything we can to get you back.
The second we found out where you were, we risked everything to come after you. We are not leaving you here, and we are not letting them just take you without consequences, without repercussions. You know me. You know I would never do that.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This is a... trying to decide exactly what this is. I think this is navigate others.
Okay.
Mel's trying to get her out of this angry state, right? That's your motivation?
Yeah, I'm trying to get her to calm down and realize that we're really here and we're really here to help her.
Okay, and Abigail's also helping, so this is going to happen at wheel. So you roll 3, pick the highest 2.
Okay.
And you're confronting Raven has lost it.
Okay. And do I have anything else to add to it?
It is wisdom, and that's it. Unless because you're in crone, so that's it.
Yeah. So I got a big whopping 0 to help me out with this, but come on, dice, don't be assholes. So you said the 2 highest, right?
Yeah.
That would give me an 11.
Awesome. Okay. I'll let you decide if this is subdued, meaning she might get angry again, or if this is resolved. Since you have such a high score, I'm just going to let you decide that. Are you going to fix her anger entirely, or is this going to come back?
I think, especially because we're all here and I'm going to talk to her, that it's going to resolve her anger. Look,
that means you
Raven.
have control over her too. So how do you want to resolve it?
So I'm going to slowly approach the crater, sort of hand out to her. And look, you know, or I guess I didn't tell you, but I went from home to home. I didn't have a family. I didn't have anywhere to go to. And I got abandoned again and again and again. And this is the one place where that hasn't happened to me. And it's not going to happen to you either. You being taken, that's them. What counts is we came back to get you. And we're here now. And we're always going to keep coming back and finding you. I know that this is difficult and scary, but I also know that you deserve better and we want you to have better. And I'm going to reach out my hand to her, and she relaxes her grip on the spirit that she had and seems to relax a little bit. The shoulders come down. She's breathing a little more calmly and comes over and takes my hand.
The spirit forms into a person that gasps for air, even though there's no air back here. She's just, like a middle-aged woman, and is looking at Raven like she is the most terrifying creature she's ever seen. She doesn't even look at the rest of you, and she's turning around, and it looks like she's going to draw the veil to leave.
I want to talk to her. I got a spell where I can do that. But I'm rolling lowest 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, if it's not your regular aspect. If it's not your aspect.
No, I'm in Crone, and this is wisdom. So
You're confronting witches leaving?
Yeah. Well, here, basically... I was going to say commune with the dead. I can just talk to her, right?
Yeah, but you don't need magic to talk to, because you're all in the veil, so you're
okay,
on
all
the
right.
same frequency right now.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to be like, hey, why'd you take my friend?
Okay, that's probably not going to stop her. So you'll have to actually, because she wants to leave, so she's not going to answer.
Yeah, I am going to make a stand and see if I can convince her of her dereliction of duty is the only words I can think of to describe
a moral
it.
stand is a wisdom roll.
Yeah.
Why did you kidnap a young girl? That's basically what you're asking.
Yes, basically. I'm just rolling 2. Cool. That's 9.
Okay. When you say that, she sort of just deflates a bit, turns around. We are trying to bring her back to her family because we have a deal with the Therianthropes. And they're going to revoke the deal if they don't get her back.
What's the deal?
That they won't hunt anymore.
Well, maybe we can make a different deal. 2 covens working together, 2 hearths working together could be very powerful. And she's our family. She's my sister.
She looks back at Raven. This woman is scared of Raven. Like, she can barely hold her breath. You'll need to talk to Joseph.
Okay.
And she's drawing the veil. Does anybody want to do anything? Stop her? Or is she...
Yeah, maybe.
How long will that door remain open? Because that's a very convenient way to get out, where I don't have to do anything.
Time is meaningless in the veil, so it's proximity to a person is about your familiarity with them. So, in short, you could leave that way if you wanted to.
I think I'm gonna forgo it. I was gonna be horrible to her, but I think that's probably a little too dramatic right now.
Too dramatic. Yeah, she parts it. It's night now, so you don't know how much time has passed, and she's going down. She's just going out into Main Street, and you can see it through like a curtain. Yes. Curtain's starting to close, so if you want to leave this way, you can.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You step out into the street, and it begins to snow.
But one thing, when we were in the Vale, my skin turned blue and my features turned very androgynous.
Oh, cool.
Neat.
You don't have to pay for that.
And
I was willing to do it if I had to.
So Raven's with you. You're standing in Main Street, and it is starting to snow.
I'm still holding Raven's hand in mine. And when we walk out through the veil, I'm just going to look at her and just say, "You're not a bargaining chip."
Why?
Sorry, I lost my temper.
Trust me, I understand.
Why don't Mel and I take her back to the house so you two can go to this meeting and set the terms of whatever we're going to do? We can take a picture or something to prove that we have Raven, but we're not letting them anywhere near her.
Well, I'm pretty sure the witch that got away will paint a pretty picture about what happened.
That's a good point.
Certainly. Shall we?
Yes.
So you're going to go to the Olive Garden?
I mean, where else is two witches? Where else are two covens going to meet?
I don't know. The Howard Johnsons.
Gotta get those breadsticks.
Those breadsticks can double as magic wands if you're feeling very useful.
Right. I have to decide
what kind of scene
this is.
This particular Olive Garden is very well warded.
I love that.
It's like Switzerland. It's a neutral territory.
Yeah. I'm gonna
like a Casablanca.
Can I spend a charm to say that because I love it?
You can.
Okay, I'm spending a charm to say that this Olive Garden is extremely well warded, so it's like a neutral place.
And there's a witch's entrance.
Okay, so this is a mundane scene because since it's neutral territory, everybody's agreed not to use magic, and so any conflict that comes here is probably going to be social. Not threatening, really. And so the Olive Garden, Joseph is there along with the hag witch that you met earlier, and a couple of other sort of like, dirty, unwashed-looking people who must also be witches. You could feel them, and they're sitting at like the big family table, waiting for you. Joseph has cleaned up a bit. He's wearing a button-up shirt. He has his Bible out. It's worn. It's like one of those red leather ones, sort of worn and used. And he smiles as you approach, kind of gestures grandly towards the booth.
And I go, "May we?"
Please. Oh, what are your aspects?
I'm going to go with Mother.
Albert is in Maiden.
Well, there have been some developments. I found out it happened behind the veil. He looks at Cade and says, "You told me something about her power. What was it?"
Oh, that she was a veritable powder keg of energy that was waiting to explode at someone. I look at his partner.
She can't look at you in the eye.
I'm glad we were there in time to intercede. I shudder to think of what she would have done if she hadn't been brought back to her senses.
What do you suggest we do about the raven kind? They have promised us not to hunt as long as we protect them. If our protection stops, the mundanes are in danger again.
These creatures are filled with nothing but hate. Unless love can be brought back into their hearts, there can only be one solution.
What is that?
To eliminate the threat.
We are a coven of the divine. We do not eliminate threats. We're not the storm or some other travesty of a witch coven.
Well, I believe the front of that whole book is filled with wrath. This is a question of what's right and what's wrong, balance, and long-term resolution of issues. If they can somehow be banished, I would prefer that.
At this point, I don't know if I have to spend a charm, but once the word storm is brought up, and storm clans, Albert is immediately going to shift into mother, but dramatically.
Yeah, one of the things you can do with charm is change your aspect in the middle of the chapter.
But the intent here is like I want the room to have noticed that I took umbrage to that.
Yeah. Yeah, all of the witches look at you.
Yeah. And that's it. I'm just going to let that hang there. But I'm somewhat neutral. It's just I didn't like that being brought into this conversation.
Well, you know these people better than I do. Is there any possibility they might listen to reason?
If they thought that they were being threatened, they could be subjugated. This is a dying town. They're scavengers. We can't stop their nature.
Indeed. We can't ask creatures to act against their nature. But we must defend creatures' right to do as they will, as long as they are not harming others. I believe that they wish to bring harm onto this girl. I believe that they are full of hate for our kind that is blinding and all-encompassing, and I do not understand it. But nonetheless, they profess love for the Lord, which their actions do not seem to convey.
The server brings breadsticks. His name
Thank
is
you,
Chip.
love. So sweet.
Refills your iced tea. Well, we must leave with an answer. I think that I must pray on this.
What is your main concern?
I want to protect Salem.
In another time, you and I may have been allies.
Are we not allies now?
That depends entirely on the choice before you.
Perhaps we can drive them out by use of the law or some mundane way.
Oh, now you're speaking my language. As long as we can maintain a certain amount of peaceable behavior, especially before the eclipse, which could turn things.
Yes. Very well. Let's pray and think and come together with a solution when we have one. But for now, Raven stays safe with you.
Agreed. Thank you so much. Love be with you and yours.
Right. Well, that adjourns our mundane. Any last thoughts from the other two at the house?
No.
Okay. I think we should end this session with a montage. Beginning, that night as everything's closing down, the snow is starting to collect. Everybody's safe home in the hearth with a new door. Patched up drywall. So why don't you just take it and describe what your character's doing? You can introduce truths if you like.
I have a scene where I walk up to the courthouse and I sort of walk in. People know me. I greet people. I'm quite jovial. I go up to a clerk at a desk and I sort of just sit on the desk, and he has like a sandwich and some chips, and I pull a chip and I eat it, and we're talking like we're close. And he opens up a drawer and surreptitiously passes me a file. I give him a wink, and I walk away with it under my coat.
Nice. Who was it? Take the next one.
Mel is laying awake in her bed, just staring at the ceiling, and just kind of a couple of tears just sort of rolling down her face, and she wipes them away hastily and gets dressed and leaves the house. Goes walking along the dark, cold streets and heads up to a house that was maybe about a mile away, and is just kind of standing out on the walkway looking towards the house, and you can see the conflict on her face, and she goes up and knocks on the door. And that's where I want to leave her.
Abigail, I'm going to say that Raven devoured whatever supper we made for her. Abigail puts her in bed, makes sure she's okay. It's way too fucking late at that point, but she slips out of the house in guy mode, drives over to an apartment building, and goes up to it's a pretty nice apartment building. Goes up to a second floor place, and not to have the exact same ending as you, I'm going to say that she knocks on the door. And it opens, and there's a young woman a couple years younger than Abigail, who is very pretty in that Midwestern girl next door way. And Abigail says, just kind of looks at her and is on the verge of saying something deeper, is on the verge of saying something like very emotional. And it's just kind of like, can I stay the night? And the woman nods, and Abigail comes in and then gives her a very sweet kiss. And scene.
Albert is in his room, his little spider's den with his webs and his threads. And he's very disturbed at seeing one specific strand, the strand that he goes to every morning and every night. It's now hanging. It's as if severed. There's a tag on the floor that says Albert Whitefeather. He's not sure what that means.
Well, that should be an interesting session coming up as we unravel all the mysteries of Salem, Indiana, and the various forces at play. We haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving yet. So,
Thanksgiving.
that's when things really go down. So that is our session. We hope that you enjoyed it. Let's see. We are going to be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That's Memorial Day. Are we on Memorial Day?
Yeah. That is going to happen on Memorial Day, May 25th, which is the day after the online Strategicon convention, which I'm sure Jim will talk more about. So come and check us out on the 25th. We will be there. Also, there are other shows at happyjacks.org, shows. I'm Chris, and you can find me at Grey Author on Twitter. And Great American Witch, if you're interested, is in beta. So come to greatamericanwitch.com for more information. You can also sign up to playtest your group if you would like to. What about the rest of all y'all? Where can we find you, and what are you doing right now?
Hey guys, I'm Mac Beauvais. You can find me everywhere on the internet as @StrangeLikeThat. That is the Twitter, the Facebooks, and the Instagrams, also my website. And you can find my tarot readings through there. You can find my apparel shop that I've got with some of my cool designs up. Support small business, by the way, because it's really important right now for a lot of people. And you can also find me here every Monday on Happy Jacks. When I'm not playing in this, I'm playing in the Things from the Flood campaign run by Cabe, which is a lot of fun, a lot of mayhem and 90s disaffected adults, which is super fun. You can also find me over at 12-Sided Stories, which is a fully produced podcast that we're doing our 3rd season of Otherworld London on there, which is a Cthulhu 1890 game. And it's a lot of fun, sound effects, music, the whole shebang. You can also go back and listen to the campaign I ran for them called Unquiet Blood, which was a Vampire 5e game.
I am Emily Vanderwerf. You can find my writing all over the internet. Look me up on Twitter, where I'm currently twitter.com/TBOTI, but I'm about to be twitter.com/EmilyVDW. I'm told. We have to wrest it from a woman in Belgium, but we're going to make that happen. I also am, my writing appears at vox.com, and I am the co-creator of the scripted podcast Arden, which is coming back very soon. I know the date when it's coming back, but I'm not allowed to say it. So.
Well, you can find me at +10 to Awesome on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I highly encourage anybody who wants to get into some virtual gaming. Upcoming Memorial Day weekend, on Friday through Sunday, we will be running RPGs in my department using Discord and various other modalities, but primarily Discord. We'll also have other really cool stuff available, including some board games, party games, even some LARPs, which, we're just trying to do everything that we can to provide the same type and level of entertainment as far as we can make it, since our convention cannot be the way that we want it to be. But for all of those who have been paying attention, who have been going to strategicon.net and running games and maybe signing up for some, we love you very much, and we hope that you are happy, safe, and gaming.
And hello, everybody. I'm Joe, the new guy. Hopefully this is working out and they'll let me play more games on this channel. I'm having a great time so far. You can find me at Joe Loves Stories and on Facebook, JOEKOU. Yeah, I will be back in 2 weeks, unless something drastic happens to me or my character.
How fucking good is this game, or what, right? Because there have been some times I'm just emotionally sitting on the edge of my seat going, oh.
Yes, this was a tight one. Like, I had knots in my chest for a lot of this, which became how my character decided to respond to things. Acting.
Awesome. Well, I hope you all come back. I had a great time, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.